I 32F, currently serve as an executive at a major tech company, and my husband James, 35M, runs his own successful tech startup. From the outside, we appear to have an ideal life. I lead a team of over 200 developers working on cutting-edge AI applications, while James's company recently secured Series B funding of $50 million. We live in a beautiful home in an upscale neighborhood, take luxury vacations, and seem to have everything figured out. But beneath this polished surface lies a dark family secret that I've been grappling with, and recent events have forced me to take drastic action. Let me provide some background. Growing up, my sister Abigail, 30F, was always the center of our family's universe. Our parents, Harold and Linda, consistently prioritized her needs and wants over everyone else's. While I worked hard to achieve success independently, developing a career in tech and earning my way to an executive position through years of dedication and late nights, Abigail chose a different path, positioning herself as a social media influencer and investment advisor. Throughout our childhood and teenage years, my accomplishments were consistently overshadowed by Abigail's demands for attention. When I got accepted into an Ivy League university with a full scholarship, our parents barely acknowledged it because Abigail was having what they called an emotional crisis over her latest boyfriend. When I graduated summa cum laude with a double major in computer science and business administration, they missed the ceremony because Abigail had a panic attack about her Instagram followers dropping below 10,000. When I landed my first executive position at 28, becoming one of the youngest female executives in Silicon Valley, they couldn't attend the celebration dinner because Abigail needed support for her latest social media venture. I remember distinctly the day I presented my first major project at the Google I/O conference. I had spent months preparing, leading a team developing revolutionary machine learning algorithms. The presentation was a huge success, earning coverage in major tech publications. I called my parents immediately after, hoping they'd finally be proud. Instead, my mother cut the call short because Abigail was having a crisis over a negative comment on her latest YouTube video. At first, I tried to understand. I told myself that perhaps Abigail needed more support, that I was the strong one who could handle things independently. But as the years went by, a pattern emerged that became impossible to ignore. Every major milestone in my life was somehow overshadowed by Abigail's latest drama or crisis. The turning point came last month when my cousin Sophia, 31F, approached me with disturbing information. She had discovered that Abigail wasn't just your typical social media influencer, she was running a sophisticated investment scam, targeting her followers with fake investment opportunities and bogus financial advice. What's worse, she had evidence that our parents were aware of this scheme and had been actively helping to cover it up. According to Sophia, who works in financial compliance, Abigail had been promoting herself as a wealth management expert and investment guru, despite having no qualifications or licenses. She had created elaborate fake portfolios and testimonials, convincing her followers to invest substantial sums of money in non-existent investment opportunities. She used complex technical jargon and fabricated charts to appear knowledgeable, preying particularly on young professionals desperate to build wealth. The worst part? Our parents had been helping her maintain this facade, providing false references and even allowing her to use their home address for her fraudulent business operations. They had turned their basement into what they called her investment office, complete with professional lighting and backgrounds for her YouTube videos and Instagram lives where she would pitch her fake investment schemes. James and I spent weeks gathering evidence. Being in tech, we knew exactly how to track digital footprints and uncover the truth. We found multiple instances of wire fraud, fake investment documents, and manipulated screenshots of supposed returns. The amount of money involved was staggering. We're talking about millions of dollars scammed from innocent people who trusted Abigail's carefully crafted online persona. What truly broke my heart wasn't just the scope of the fraud, but the casual way our parents had enabled it. Through our investigation, we uncovered emails where our mother had actively helped Abigail craft responses to worried investors, assuring them their money was safely invested. Our father had used his business connections to create fake testimonials and even appeared in some of her videos as a successful investor, lending credibility to her scams. The deeper we dug, the more disturbing the picture became. Abigail had created multiple shell companies, each with our parents' home address as the registered office. She had developed a complex network of fake profiles across various social media platforms, all cross-promoting her investment schemes. These weren't amateur efforts, these were sophisticated fraud operations that required significant planning and support. One particularly heartbreaking discovery was a private Discord server where her victims shared their stories. A single mother who invested her life savings. A college student who took out loans to invest in Abigail's guaranteed return program. A retired couple who remortgaged their home based on her advice. Reading their stories, seeing the real human impact of my sister's actions, I couldn't sleep for days. Through our investigation, James discovered something even more sinister. Abigail had been using advanced deepfake technology to create fake video testimonials from supposed successful investors. She had also been manipulating cryptocurrency transactions to create the illusion of successful trades. The technical sophistication of her scams suggested she had professional help that we later confirmed came from some of our father's business associates. The most recent victim was particularly close to home. Our cousin Sophia's best friend had invested $50,000 in one of Abigail's schemes, money she had saved for her daughter's medical treatment. When she tried to withdraw the funds for the surgery, Abigail fed her excuse after excuse, while posting pictures of herself on vacation in the Maldives, likely paid for with scammed money. After careful consideration and planning, James and I have decided to take action. We've set up a plan to expose everything during this year's Thanksgiving dinner, where our entire extended family will be present. Being tech professionals has given us a significant advantage in planning this exposure. Our technical setup is comprehensive. James has installed hidden 4K cameras throughout the dining room, connected to a secure cloud server. We've prepared a detailed PowerPoint presentation with documented evidence of the fraud, including bank statements, email threads, and social media records. We've also set up a backup power system to ensure nothing can interrupt the exposure. The timing isn't random. We chose Thanksgiving for several reasons. First, it's the only time the entire extended family gathers, including several of Abigail's victims who are distant relatives. Second, Abigail always uses family gatherings to recruit new investors, and we've learned she's planning to pitch a new, exclusive investment opportunity during dinner. Third, she's planning to announce the launch of her biggest scheme yet, a cryptocurrency investment platform that could potentially scam thousands more people. Our plan is precisely timed. When Abigail starts her usual investment talk during dinner, we'll activate our presentation system. The evidence will be projected onto the dining room wall, while simultaneously being live-streamed across multiple social media platforms. We've coordinated with several tech-savvy cousins to ensure the stream reaches all of Abigail's follower groups. The evidence we've gathered is comprehensive and irrefutable. Our investigation has uncovered detailed financial records showing money transfers to offshore accounts, along with numerous screenshots of private messages where Abigail openly admits to fabricating investment returns. We've also collected extensive email correspondence between our parents discussing strategies for handling worried investors, as well as video recordings showing Abigail coaching our father on his scripted testimonials. The documentation extends to multiple shell companies registered to our parents' address, with clear proof of manipulated cryptocurrency transactions. Most importantly, we have heart-wrenching testimonials from victims who have bravely agreed to share their stories. James has taken his technical expertise a step further by creating a secure website that will allow victims to submit their information for potential legal action. This site is ready to launch the moment we begin our presentation. We've already established connections with several prestigious law firms specializing in investment fraud, and they're prepared to take immediate action once everything is exposed. I've wrestled with the question of why we're choosing such an extreme approach rather than simply reporting her to the authorities. The answer lies in the complex web of protection my parents have woven around Abigail throughout her life. Their influence and resources mean they could potentially help her evade consequences, just as they've done countless times before. Furthermore, many victims feel too ashamed to come forward individually. By exposing everything publicly, we're not only creating a support network for these victims but also making it impossible for my family to continue their pattern of covering up Abigail's misdeeds. Planning this exposure has taken an enormous emotional toll. Despite everything they've done, these people are still my family. When I lie awake at night, I'm haunted by memories of Abigail as a child, seeking comfort in my room during thunderstorms. I remember my father's proud smile when he taught me to ride a bike, and my mother's patient guidance during early science projects, before Abigail became their sole focus. Yet these sweet memories are always overshadowed by the countless birthdays they missed, the achievements they ignored, and the constant choosing of Abigail over everyone else. Recently, while preparing for tomorrow, I discovered my old high school diary tucked away in a box. Reading through it brought back a particularly painful memory from the day I won the national science competition. I had developed an early version of a machine learning algorithm for weather pattern prediction, something the judges described as revolutionary. I rushed home, bursting with excitement to share my achievement, only to find my parents completely absorbed in consoling Abigail over losing her position as head cheerleader. They never even asked about my competition, let alone acknowledged my victory. This dismissive pattern has persisted throughout our adult lives. The engagement announcement to James stands out as a particularly bitter memory. During what should have been a joyous family dinner, Abigail orchestrated one of her signature panic attacks, this time over insufficient YouTube views. Instead of celebrating my engagement, I spent the evening watching my parents fawn over her while my news faded into insignificance. Through all of this, James has been my unwavering support. His own experience with toxic family dynamics, having made the difficult decision to cut ties with his manipulative siblings years ago, has given him unique insight into my situation. He's helped me understand that enabling Abigail isn't an act of love, it's allowing her to continue harming innocent people. The technical preparations for tomorrow's exposure are impeccable. We've conducted multiple equipment tests, secured our evidence with redundant backups, and developed contingency plans for every scenario we could imagine. Yet despite this thorough preparation, I'm emotionally distraught. Each time I contemplate what we're about to do, my anxiety intensifies. This morning brought a particularly challenging moment when my mother called to confirm our attendance at Thanksgiving dinner. Her voice carried its usual warmth as she asked about my apple pie and expressed excitement about having the family together. For a brief moment, I felt my resolve weaken. Then I forced myself to remember all the victims, the desperate single mother who lost her life savings, the naive college student now drowning in debt, the trusting retired couple facing potential homelessness, all because my sister saw them as easy targets and my parents helped her exploit them. Tomorrow will change everything. By this time tomorrow night, my sister's elaborate scam network will be exposed, my parents' carefully constructed reputation will lie in ruins, and our family will never be the same. The live stream is set to reach hundreds of thousands of Abigail's followers, and several news outlets have already shown interest in the story, though they don't yet know the full scope of what we're about to reveal. Am I the asshole for choosing to expose them this way? For potentially destroying my family's reputation and possibly sending my sister to jail? Part of me feels guilty, but another part feels this is the only way to stop their destructive behavior. They've left me no choice. I'll update this post tomorrow after everything goes down. Wish me luck, Reddit. I have a feeling I'm going to need it. Update 1, the events of Thanksgiving evening unfolded even more dramatically than we had anticipated. For those asking for an update, I'll focus on what happened after my last post, avoiding repeating the background information. Everything began according to plan as our family gathered for dinner. The dining room was filled with tension that only James and I could understand. Abigail arrived fashionably late, dressed in designer clothes that were likely purchased with her victim's money. She immediately began working the room, subtly dropping hints about her newest, exclusive investment opportunity. The moment that triggered our planned exposure wasn't what we expected. As my father was cutting the turkey, making his traditional Thanksgiving speech about family values and integrity, Abigail interrupted to announce her new, revolutionary blockchain investment platform. The irony was palpable. Right then, James activated our presentation system. The initial reaction was pure chaos. As the evidence appeared on the wall, including screenshots of Abigail's private messages admitting to fraud, my mother dropped her wine glass, shattering it on the floor. Abigail's face transformed from confusion to horror as she realized what was happening. She tried to grab her phone to stop the live stream, but it was too late, over 200,000 of her followers were already watching. What we hadn't anticipated was my father's explosive reaction. Instead of showing remorse, he attempted to physically disconnect the presentation system. However, our backup plans proved effective, the evidence continued streaming from multiple sources. When he realized he couldn't stop it, he began threatening legal action against me, ironically ignoring the clear evidence of his own complicity in Abigail's crimes. The most revealing moment came when one of our cousins, who had lost $30,000 in one of Abigail's schemes, broke down in tears. She stood up and began sharing her story right there at the dinner table. This triggered a domino effect. 2 other relatives also revealed they had been victims. The look on my parents' faces as they realized they had been helping Abigail scam their own family members was unforgettable. Abigail's attempt to defend herself only made things worse. She tried to claim that all investments carry risks and that she never guaranteed returns. However, James had prepared for this. He played a compilation of clips from her videos where she explicitly promised guaranteed 300% returns and risk-free investments. Her face went pale as her own words contradicted her defense. By the time dessert would have normally been served, 3 separate police cars had arrived, responding to calls from concerned relatives. The officers took initial statements and advised everyone to preserve all evidence. Abigail left in tears, escorted by our parents who were still trying to defend her actions. The aftermath has been intense. The video of our exposure has gone viral, with over 2 million views across various platforms. Hundreds of victims have come forward through the website we set up. The total amount of money involved appears to be much larger than we initially estimated. Preliminary reports suggest it could be over $15 million. Multiple news outlets have picked up the story. They're particularly interested in the technology aspect, how a social media influencer used sophisticated methods to create fake investment schemes. Several financial regulatory bodies have reached out to our lawyers requesting information. The family is divided. Some relatives have completely cut ties with my parents and Abigail, while others are trying to maintain neutrality. Most surprising has been the reaction from my mother's sister, who we discovered had suspected something was wrong for months but had been afraid to speak up. James and I have moved to a hotel temporarily due to the constant media presence outside our home. Our lawyers have advised us to limit our public statements while investigations are ongoing. The support from Reddit has been overwhelming, and I appreciate everyone who encouraged me to go through with this. My parents have been calling non-stop, alternating between threats and pleas. They've tried everything from guilt-tripping to offering money, ironically, to get me to retract my statements. I've blocked their numbers and am only communicating through our lawyers now. The next few weeks will be crucial as investigations progress. I'll update again when I can share more details about the legal proceedings. For now, I'm focused on helping coordinate the victim support group that has formed through our website. To those asking if I regret my decision, no, I don't. The truth needed to come out. The only regret I have is not doing this sooner. Update 2, the fallout from our Thanksgiving exposure continues to escalate beyond what we anticipated. The most significant development has been the formation of a formal class action lawsuit against Abigail and my parents. The law firm we contacted has taken on the case pro bono, motivated by the public interest and the compelling evidence we provided. What's been most surprising is the discovery of additional scams we hadn't known about. Through the victim support group, we've uncovered that Abigail had been running parallel schemes under different aliases, each targeting specific demographics. She had a separate persona for targeting young professionals, another for retirees, and even one specifically aimed at fellow influencers. The cryptocurrency platform she was planning to launch would have been her biggest scam yet. Our tech team found evidence that she had already collected pre-launch investments from over 500 people, totaling nearly $3 million. The platform itself was nothing but a sophisticated facade. There was no actual technology behind it. My parents' involvement has turned out to be even more extensive than we knew. Financial investigators have discovered that they had set up multiple shell companies in different states to help launder the money. My father's business associates who helped create the fake testimonials are now also under investigation. The most dramatic moment this week came when Abigail attempted to do a response video on her backup social media accounts. She tried to paint herself as the victim, claiming she was being persecuted by a jealous sister. However, her performance backfired spectacularly when viewers noticed she was wearing a $50,000 watch, one that a victim recognized as having been purchased with their investment money. My parents have finally stopped trying to contact me directly, but they've enlisted extended family members to act as mediators. Their latest offer is to make things right by paying back some of the victims if I agree to publicly retract my statements. I've forwarded all these messages to our legal team. The support group has grown to over 3,000 members, with new victims coming forward daily. Many have shared heartbreaking stories of how Abigail's scams destroyed their lives. The silver lining is that these people are now supporting each other, sharing resources and information about financial recovery. James's company has received some backlash from business associates who were friendly with my father, but the tech community has largely rallied behind us. Several prominent tech figures have offered to help develop legitimate investment education resources for the victims. Local newspapers have started digging into my parents' past, uncovering a pattern of unethical behavior that spans decades. It seems Abigail learned her manipulative tactics from experts. Old business partners of my father have come forward with stories of similar schemes from years ago. The investigation continues to expand, and federal authorities are now involved due to the interstate nature of the fraud. I'll update again when there are significant developments in the legal proceedings. To those who have asked about my emotional state, I'm holding up, thanks to therapy and James's unwavering support. This isn't the ending I wanted for my family, but it's the ending they chose through their actions. Update 3: The situation has reached its final resolution, and the impact has been even more comprehensive than we anticipated. The most significant development came yesterday when federal investigators completed their initial probe, revealing the true scope of the operation. The total fraud amount has been confirmed at over $23 million, nearly double our initial estimates. The case took an unexpected turn when one of my father's former business partners turned state's evidence. He provided detailed records showing that my parents had been involved in similar schemes long before Abigail's social media career began. Apparently, they had been using various family businesses as fronts for financial fraud for over 2 decades. This morning, Abigail made her first public appearance since Thanksgiving at the courthouse. She wasn't there voluntarily, she was arrested while attempting to board a private flight to a non-extradition country. The authorities found multiple fake passports and over $500,000 in cash in her possession. Her tearful perp walk was captured by local news stations, a stark contrast to her carefully curated social media image. My parents' response to Abigail's arrest was perhaps the most revealing moment of this entire ordeal. Instead of finally acknowledging their role in enabling her crimes, they attempted to blame her social media followers for being too gullible. This statement, made to reporters outside their home, has only intensified the public backlash against them. The most unexpected development has been within our extended family. Following Abigail's arrest, our elderly grandmother finally spoke up about her suspicions over the years. She revealed that she had lost a significant portion of her retirement savings to one of my father's early investment schemes but had kept quiet to maintain family harmony. Her testimony has been particularly damaging to my parents' already crumbling reputation. The victim support group has evolved into a formal advocacy organization, with plans to lobby for stronger regulations on social media financial advice. Several tech industry leaders have pledged support for developing AI tools to detect and flag potential investment scams on social platforms. James and I have finally been able to return home, though we've stepped back from public involvement in the case. The legal proceedings are now fully in the hands of prosecutors and civil attorneys. We've been advised that the criminal trials could take months, but the evidence is overwhelming. The most gratifying outcome has been the recovery of some victims' funds. Forensic accountants have traced and frozen several offshore accounts, and there's hope that a significant portion of the money can be returned to the victims. The court has appointed a receiver to manage the recovery and distribution process. Perhaps the most significant personal change has been my recent decision to establish a foundation focused on helping victims of social media financial fraud. Several of my tech industry colleagues have offered to contribute their expertise and resources to this initiative. As for my family relationships, they're beyond repair, but I'm at peace with that. The truth about who they really are has set me free from decades of manipulation and guilt. I've learned that sometimes the healthiest family is the one you choose, not the one you're born into. This will be my final update. Thank you, Reddit, for your support throughout this journey. To anyone facing similar situations with toxic family members, sometimes exposure is the only path to healing, both for yourself and for others who might be victims.